You don't toss around their right to collective bargaining like a poker chip.
If we don't, they won't budge.
Budge. Budge.
If we don't, they won't budge.
If he wants something on the floor, he's going to have to talk to me directly.
I know you take a lot of pride in your manhood, Bob, and
Manhood. Manhood.
I know you take a lot of pride in your manhood, Bob, and that's not the first time he's pulled that stunt on me. Probably should have held my tongue, but I just couldn't resist the chance to see him shrivel.
Shrivel. Shrivel.
Just couldn't resist the chance to see him shrivel.
I do not think you should give him the satisfaction.
Well, give me a reason.
Makes us appear weak. This is an opportunity for you to establish your supremacy.
Supremacy. Supremacy.
This is an opportunity for you to establish your supremacy. This is an opportunity for you to establish your supremacy. We should seize it.
But without Birch's cooperation, we're fighting an uphill battle before we even get the bill to the floor. Frank,
Uphill. Uphill.
we're fighting an uphill battle before we even get the bill to the floor. Frank.
Hi, where y'all from?
A girl from Connecticut says we're from a place where we know not to end a sentence with a preposition.
Preposition. Preposition.
Not to end a sentence with a preposition.
And that's why they hired Glendon Hill to make them look good.
And they also hired you to get traction in Congress.
Traction. Traction.
And they also hired you to get traction in Congress.
No, you're going to be our new White House correspondent.
What about Janine?
I promoted her to Midwest Bureau Chief.
Midwest. Midwest.
I promoted her to Midwest Bureau Chief.
And one below Birch, which is akin to being between a very hungry wolf and a very quarrelsome sheep.
Quarrelsome. Quarrelsome.
And a very quarrelsome sheep.
Birch loses his district or retires, neither of which is going to happen before you and I have dentures.
Denture. Denture.
Before you and I have dentures. Just consider it for a moment.
You want to collude with the Republicans?
Collude. Collude.
You want to collude with the Republicans?
There's a first time for everything.
This is ridiculous.
The Republicans would love a chance to knock Bob down a peg or two.
Peg. Peg.
The Republicans would love a chance to knock Bob down a peg or two.
How much? 200,000.
For one project?
I know it's a lot, but it'll be our flagship project in Africa.
Flagship. Flagship.
But it'll be our flagship project in Africa.
It's a prestigious job, Zoe.
It used to be when I was in 9th grade. Now it's a graveyard.
Graveyard. Graveyard.
Now it's a graveyard. My goal in life is not to climb up the Herald's ladder one rung at a time till I've got my own stationery.
Stationary. Stationary.
Until I've got my own stationery.
Well, I did. And you skipped a few rungs, by the way. Do what you want to do, Zoe, but if you want me to be your cheerleader and say yeah.
Cheerleader. Cheerleader.
But if you want me to be your cheerleader and say yeah.
Have a seat. Oh, thank you.
Is that a PS Vita?
Vita. Vita.
Is that a PS Vita?
I lobbied the commission, my entire office.
I'm sure you've done splendid work, but unfortunately it can't come to fruition.
Fruition. Fruition.
But unfortunately it can't come to fruition.
12 votes?
12 votes.
I can get you 10, probably 11.
It's so refreshing to work with someone who...
Refresh. Refresh.
It's so refreshing to work with someone who...
He's staying at the Mandarin.
Mandarin. Mandarin.
He's staying at the Mandarin.
It's far beyond its strategic geographic value. APG's research and development of military materiel is
Material. Material.
APG's research and development of military materiel material is central to our nation's counterterrorism efforts. The base houses research laboratories for preventative medicine.
Preventative. Preventative.
The base houses research laboratories for preventative medicine. Thank you for the opportunity to testify before you today.
Any questions for the Congresswoman from Maryland?
Congresswoman. Congresswoman.
Any questions for the Congresswoman from Maryland?
Those in favor of removing the Aberdeen Proving Ground from the list of closures?
Aye.
I.
They're backing my play for the speakership.
Interesting.
I have a sense you've been disseminating some misinformation.
No.
Misinformation. Misinformation.
I have a sense you've been disseminating some misinformation.
No. Interesting.
I have a sense you've been disseminating some misinformation.
No, I'm afraid it's you who are misinformed, David.
Misinform. Misinform.
No, I'm afraid it's you who are misinformed, David.
I have to go to Bob with this.
He'll think you organized a coup, got cold feet, and are making me the scapegoat.
Scapegoat. Scapegoat.
Got cold feet and are making me the scapegoat. You better make it a half order. I got a big dinner tonight.
She'll say. Slaw. Oh.
Slaw. Slaw.
Slaw. Oh. Swerve to the right, barely missed it too. Jesus. Man, it was real. But you know that's why God gave us reflexes.
Reflex. Reflex.
But you know that's why God gave us reflexes.
Just trying to find the meaning of life.
Find anything for me?
Oh, you mean anything newsworthy?
Newsworthy. Newsworthy.
Oh, you mean anything newsworthy?
Find anything for me?
Oh, you mean anything newsworthy?
I actually didn't call to badger you.
Badger. Badger.
I actually didn't call to badger you.
You see, Freddie believes that if a fridge falls off a minivan, you better swerve out of its way. I believe it's the fridge's job to swerve out of mine.
Swerve. Swerve.
I believe it's the fridge's job to swerve out of mine.
Called me into his office and...
Oh, please. You've been gunning for my job since the day you bounced in here with a lollipop in your mouth.
Lollipop. Lollipop.
With a lollipop in your mouth.
Then why do you have the keys to his apartment? Will you make us Pop-Tarts?
Tart. Tart.
Will you make us Pop-Tarts?
An enormous 60-foot rogue wave struck the Aleutian Bound.
It was just sublime, Claire.
Sublime. Sublime.
It was just sublime, Claire.
None for me.
Well, why don't you and I head downstairs for a little brandy and some cigars?
Brandy. Brandy.
For a little brandy and some cigars.
Cute.
Dessert for you? No, thanks. But I will take a refill of this Chardonnay, though.
Refill. Refill.
The primary opponent's campaign next cycle will cleave you from the herd and
Cleave. Cleave.
will cleave you from the herd and...
Is that an invitation?
It's whatever you want it to be.
You sound tipsy.
I am.
Just
Tipsy. Tipsy.
You sound tipsy.
I am.
just